Welcome to Lost Case Files, where we delve into the most shocking and perplexing crimes. Today, we unravel the tragic and complex story of David Montague, a successful real estate agent whose concealed life and secrets led to his brutal murder. David Montague was a 48-year-old resident of Littleton, Colorado. He was a well-known figure in the community, often seen driving around in his sleek black car with the personalized license plate sexy realtor showing homes to clients. David was married to Claire, a school principal, and had a stepson named Oliver. He had graduated from the University of Colorado with a degree in business and had been in the real estate industry for over 20 years. The people of Littleton trusted David, as he always appeared friendly and reliable. David lived in a large two-story house with a well-manicured lawn, and his neighbors frequently saw him working in the garden, greeting them with a warm smile and a wave. He was actively involved in local events and charity fundraisers, often sponsoring local Little League teams and attending church on Sundays. David seemed to lead a perfect life with a beautiful home, a successful career, and a loving family. However, David had a secret life. For the past 2 years, he had been in a sexual relationship with his stepson, Oliver. David kept this relationship hidden, fearing it would ruin his reputation and career. Additionally, he continued to meet other men for sex through his work, using the homes he showed as secret meeting places. This double life created a great deal of stress and tension for David. In the days leading up to his death, David was busy closing deals and meeting clients, often staying late at the office. He was looking forward to a weekend getaway to the Bahamas with Claire, hoping to relax and escape his troubles for a while. David was also planning to attend a 4th of July barbecue at a friend's house to catch up with old friends and enjoy some time away from his hectic life. David's friends described him as charismatic and charming, with a knack for making people feel comfortable and important. Despite his friendly exterior, David was deeply troubled by his hidden life. He felt guilt over his affair with Oliver and the lies he told to keep it a secret. He was also anxious about Claire discovering the truth, fearing it would destroy their marriage and his standing in the community. In his final days, David was a man under immense pressure, struggling to balance his public persona with his private turmoil. His dreams of a perfect life were slowly unraveling, leading to a tragic and violent end. On June 27, 2014, at approximately 3 p.m., Claire Montague returned early from her job as a school principal. She was looking forward to a relaxing evening, perhaps watching some shows on Netflix and catching up on her favorite book. As she walked through the front door of their home on Bleak Street in Littleton, Colorado, everything seemed normal at first. She placed her keys on the kitchen counter and called out for David, but received no answer. Feeling uneasy, Claire decided to check the basement, where David often spent time working on his real estate files or watching the History Channel. As she descended the stairs, she noticed that the basement door was slightly ajar, which was unusual. She called out for David again, this time louder, but still received no response. Upon reaching the bottom of the stairs, Claire was met with a scene of horror. David's lifeless body lay sprawled on the floor, surrounded by signs of a violent struggle. There were bloodstains on the carpet and furniture, and David's face was bruised and battered. A luxury men's belt was tightly wrapped around his neck, clearly used to strangle him. Claire screamed in terror and rushed to her husband's side, shaking him and desperately trying to wake him, but it was too late. In a state of shock and disbelief, Claire grabbed her phone and dialed 999. Her hands trembled as she spoke to the operator, her voice cracking with emotion. "My husband is dead. I think he's been murdered," she cried, struggling to catch her breath. The operator tried to calm her down and instructed her to stay on the line until the police arrived. Claire's neighbor, Luby Johnson, heard the commotion and came over to see what was happening. She found Claire sitting on the front steps, sobbing uncontrollably. Luby stayed with Claire, trying to comfort her while they waited for the police. The minutes felt like hours, and Claire's mind raced with questions about who could have committed such a horrific act and why. When the police finally arrived, they quickly secured the scene and escorted Claire and Luby away from the basement. Claire was in a state of shock, barely able to comprehend what had just happened. She repeatedly asked who could have done this to David, her mind unable to process the brutal reality of her husband's death. The discovery of David's body sent shockwaves through the quiet community of Littleton. News of the murder spread quickly, with neighbors and friends gathering outside the Montague home, trying to make sense of the tragedy that had struck their seemingly perfect neighborhood. On June 27, 2014, at 3:15 p.m., the Littleton Police Department received a frantic 999 call from Claire Montague. Officers arrived at the scene within minutes, led by Detective James Cartwright, a seasoned investigator known for his meticulous approach. The Montague home on the quiet Oak Street was quickly surrounded by police cars, and yellow crime scene tape was stretched around the perimeter. Detective Cartwright and his team entered the basement, where they were confronted with a grisly scene. David Montague's body lay on the floor with a luxury men's belt tightly wrapped around his neck. Bloodstains were visible on the carpet and nearby furniture, indicating a violent struggle. Detective Cartwright, a stern man in his late 40s with sharp eyes and a calm demeanor, surveyed the scene with steely resolve. The police began their investigation by collecting evidence. They photographed the scene from various angles, documenting every detail. The belt used in the murder was carefully bagged as evidence, and detectives searched for fingerprints and any other clues that might lead to the killer. Detective Cartwright noted the overturned furniture and signs of a struggle, indicating that David had fought for his life. Forensic experts arrived to process the scene, using luminol to detect blood traces and collecting samples for DNA analysis. They meticulously combed the area for hair fibers and any other potential evidence. The brutality of the murder shocked even the most experienced officers, but they remained focused on gathering all the information they could. Detective Cartwright interviewed Claire Montague, who was still in shock from discovering her husband's body. She described her day and the horrifying moment she found David. Her account was detailed and emotional, but she insisted she had no idea who could have committed such a crime. Claire's alibi was quickly verified as she had been at work at the time of the murder. Next, the police began canvassing the neighborhood. They spoke with neighbors, including Luby Johnson, who had come to Claire's aid. Luby described hearing Claire's screams and finding her on the front steps, distraught and incoherent. Other neighbors mentioned seeing David earlier in the day, but nothing seemed out of the ordinary. The police also checked David's recent phone and email records, hoping to find any leads. They discovered several suspicious messages and calls suggesting that David had been meeting with various men for illicit sex. This revelation added a new layer to the investigation, pointing to potential motives related to David's hidden life. As the day turned into evening, the police continued their work, determined to find the person responsible for David Montague's brutal murder. The scene was cleared, and Detective Cartwright and his team reviewed the evidence collected, preparing for the next steps in their investigation. The community of Littleton watched anxiously, hoping for answers and justice for David Montague. The first suspect in David Montague's murder was his wife, Claire Montague. Claire, 47, was a respected school principal in Littleton, known for her intelligence and strong personality. She had been with the school district for over 15 years and was heavily involved in community activities. Her colleagues described her as dedicated and authoritative, always striving for excellence. Claire was brought in for questioning the day after the murder, on June 28, 2014. Detective James Cartwright led the interrogation, trying to piece together her actions and emotions. Claire appeared exhausted and distraught but answered questions calmly. She recounted her day at work and the horrifying discovery of David's body when she returned home. Despite her composed demeanor, Claire's anger and confusion were evident. She expressed disbelief and frustration over the affair, insisting she had no idea David was involved with other men. The revelation of the affair added tension to the interrogation as Detective Cartwright probed deeper into Claire's feelings about her husband's betrayal. Detective Cartwright asked Claire about her relationship with David. She admitted they had a strong partnership but mentioned they had faced some challenges recently. Claire claimed she was unaware of David's secret life and explained she had recently suffered a ski injury, which had caused her difficulty in reading people's actions. She suggested this might be why she missed any signs of David's double life. Claire's alibi was solid. She had been at the school all day attending meetings and preparing for the upcoming school year. Colleagues and security footage confirmed her presence at work during the time of the murder. Nonetheless, her connection to the victim made her a person of interest. Detective Cartwright also explored Claire's possible motives. Her reputation and career were crucial to her, and David's affair threatened both. However, Claire firmly denied any involvement in the murder, maintaining her innocence throughout the questioning. She was cooperative and provided all requested information, including access to her phone and emails.